Hello guys, hello beautiful souls. Welcome back to another video today. This is a place where faith meets reality and Jesus is always at the center. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Ken. You hear me here? I share real life testimonies, godly wisdom and encouragement to help you grow in truth and with grace. So if you're here for the real talk, purposeful living, and of course Jesus Christ himself, then you are in the right place. You're right where you belong. Today is going to be a topic on alcohol. Alcohol. Now, never in my wildest dream did I think I would be sitting here talking about alcohol. Actually, that's a lie, because I did just do a video like a couple of months ago talk about alcohol, two sides of the coin. I was at a point in my life where, I had everything under control. I wasn't really drinking like that. I don't really drink like that. The only time I would drink was on like a special occasion, and even with that, I would drink with moderation. And I spoken briefly, or not briefly, but I spoken a bit more that there's two sides of the coin when it comes to alcohol. We have Christians that do drink alcohol, and you also have those that are against alcohol. It was more of seeing two sides of the coin. So I'm gonna share with you guys my personal story on alcohol, and obviously, as you guys can tell from the title, I had made the decision to stop drinking alcohol. This video is not to convince you guys to take this route. I am not telling you what to do. I'm just going based on what I was convicted of and why I personally made the decision to refrain from alcohol, what I've learned from this journey, because it's been one heck of a journey. And I do feel like maybe this video will also touch the heart of someone who might be struggling with this as well. So this video is for you. But anyways, so in the past, I was actually introduced to alcohol when I was fairly young. I want to say, well, not that young. When I was like, 21? That's when I actually drank alcohol was when I was like 21, but I wouldn't drink it like that. And when I would drink alcohol, it was more like a secret. No one really knew that I drank alcohol, maybe until later on. When I think one time I bought a cider drink and it had like 5%, which again, to me, that's nothing. But the thing is with me, I always drank with moderation. I never was the type to get drunk. Well, I admit it right here, right now, I have been tipsy, like a little bit tipsy. When you get to that point of like, you somewhat feel it, you feel like you're in the clouds, but you still have sense. When I get to that point, that's when I know, okay, we need to hold off with the alcohol. And then I start drinking water, and then I'm usually fine with it like minutes or so. For the most part, I've never actually been drunk when I'm like doing reckless stuff. Like, I've never been to that point, and I don't intend to. So that was my relationship with alcohol, and I was more of a cocktail babe. I preferred cocktails and some liquors here and there, sweet ones anyways. But I never really liked red wine. White wine, barely, but I was like, ugh, it's not even that nice. Rosé, I can manage a rosé, but again, it's not my choice of drink. Beer, never tried, don't plan to. So I was like, yeah, you can stay. I don't like the smell of beer anyways. I will say though, when it comes to alcohol, the one thing I didn't like about alcohol is the feeling that I get after drinking alcohol. It's like the feeling of nausea. Why can't I say that word all of a sudden? The feeling nauseous. Yeah, the feeling of nauseous, like I feel like I'm about to throw up, but it never happens. And it's never happened to me, thank God for that. But I noticed over time, especially when I was hanging out with this particular ex-friend of mine, she and I, because we used to work together, we'd go out from time to time, we'd meet up. We used to like go to like the favorite place in Soho. If you don't know where Soho is, it's in London. My dad called it Sodom and Gomorrah, but you probably wonder, why does he call it that? Just just look it up. But anyways, I'm not even gonna go into detail on that one. Yeah, so we would go there, and I noticed that when I was always around her, I started drinking a lot more and drinking more heavier drinks and drinking more than I would have. Sometimes being around people that drink too much is not always a good thing. Bad company corrupts to good characters, right? So anyways, I noticed that when I was around this person, I would always like be drinking more than I should, and I'm thinking to myself, this is too much alcohol. It actually started to affect me physically to the point where my stomach was becoming a little bit more bloated, and I felt a tad bit heavier, and I did somewhat gain a bit of pound as well. So I did take a step back from it. I didn't quit it because I knew I was going to come back to it, but I did take a step back from alcohol. When I was around this person, I would always feel like I was drinking too much, and I remember I spoken to her about it, and I was like, look, I think I'm going to tone down on the drinking, and she was saying, oh no, the drinking is not the problem, yada yada yada, basically excusing the fact that the drink is not the problem and it's not enough. But I'm telling you, I was like, I'm telling you right now, my stomach feels really bloated, and I think it's the alcohol because it was never this bad. I noticed that I was becoming a bit dependent on alcohol as well. And whenever I was with her, I would always drink alcohol. There was even a time when I was like, I'm just gonna have soft drink, and she was like, there's no way you're having soft drink around me. Then joining into this workplace, by the way, if you don't know, I used to work in this job which I've just recently left from, and it's been about I don't know how long this is going to be until this video comes up, but I left in the end of July. Was going through some challenges in that workplace, got myself in a situation that I shouldn't have been in, and because I found myself like mentally, it was kind of spiraling, like it was getting worse and worse. And at this point, I wasn't really praying much. I wasn't really like coming to God and just confessing to him like what I've been going through, what I've been dealing with, and all of that stuff. I was trying to find comfort in other things, and I think at that point I was low-key a bit out. There was a sense of like shame. I felt like I'm too far gone at this point. There's no rescuing me now, right? And at some point I started running from God, so I thought maybe finding comfort in other things would help me. Did you think it helped me? Well, if it helped me, I wouldn't be quitting now, would I? I started drinking, and I would buy like these little small cocktail cans, and they would have like 13% alcohol, 15% alcohol. I'll buy to drink it to the point where I'm feeling a bit like, ooh, anything just to relieve the pain, the hurt that I am feeling in that moment. I just wanted something that would be comforting, something that would numb the pain, what I was dealing with, numb me to somewhat, in a way, try to make me forget, even though I didn't really forget, but I just wanted something to just get rid of what I was feeling in that moment, which was pain, hurt, rejection, betrayal, all of that stuff, right? Although, did it help me? Briefly, but then I would wake up, because usually I would basically drink myself to sleep, wake up and feel like I feel worse than yesterday. I feel worse than how I felt when I drank the alcohol, and I wasn't even in my best state before drinking the alcohol, right? But did that stop me? No, I still went back thinking that I was going to get a different result. Nope, I didn't. And I do this, nothing was changing, it wasn't getting better. I do feel like working in that place was somewhat a factor as to why I felt like everything was just spiraling and just going complete left. And then I found myself in a position where I was trying to find comfort in drinking alcohol rather than finding comfort in God. Make sense, right? Like, I was just like, I'm gonna buy me alcohol. Like, there was a time when I'll be so stressed out from work, rather than buying me Fanta or Vibina, I said, let me buy me alcohol. Make sense. Let me buy me alcohol, then I'll just like drink and hopefully feel better. The audacity of me. This isn't me. This is not who I am. I've never been the type to depend on alcohol. I've never been the type to want to drink alcohol like that. I'd rather buy a juice than buy alcohol. I did notice that it did lead me to fall into sin. Things that I said I'd never do, I ended up doing, and I just became unrecognizable. Like, sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and I'll be like, I don't recognize myself. at all. And I do feel like when you do fall into one sin, again, it leads to another. So, it led me to falling into, other sin. Somewhere, somehow, I even started off vaping as well. I've never smoked a cigarette, don't care to. Never had weed, don't care to. Shisha here and there when I would be outside socializing with people. But again, I don't willingly go out and just be like, hey, I want to do some shisha. That's the last thing on the list. Same thing as alcohol was the last thing on the list. I don't go out thinking, oh, I want to drink me some alcohol. I just go out to just want to socialize with friends. And if I drink alcohol, I drink alcohol. But it was never something on the list, right? Same thing with shisha. Same thing with vaping. Vaping, I never cared to vape. Someone asked me to try it. I mean, I was always open to, say open. I'm not that open. But, sometimes, curiosity, sometimes they say curiosity kills the cat. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, let me try. And then just vape. But that was the only thing I tried. I thought vaping wasn't as bad as smoking cigarettes or smoking weed, right? So I thought, cigarette. I mean, vape isn't bad. It doesn't hurt your throat, it doesn't feel weird on your throat like cigarette does. I've seen like when people try a cigarette for the first time, they start coughing, right? But with vaping, it's not like that. At least not to me, anyways, right? So I was like, it's okay. I can a little puff here and there, but I never was the type to like go in my way and actually smoke a vape or anything of that sort until recently. And once again, I actually was kind of low-key influenced. I'm not blaming them completely because I chose to do what I did. But again, like they say, bad company corrupts good character. And sometimes when you spend a little too much time with that one person, they can have a negative impact on you. And I did kind of start vaping as well, and I was like, this is so unlike me. But that was kind of brief, and then I kind of just stopped after that. Good thing for me, it's kind of easy to stop anyway because I didn't really do it like that anyways. But I know like even with vaping, it can be difficult to get out of that or to stop vaping altogether. So I get that. I'm glad I didn't continue with that. But with alcohol, because I've already started drinking alcohol from way back in the days, from like when I was 21, it did leave me feeling empty. There was really nothing good that came out of alcohol for me personally. If anything, it somewhat opened doors to more sin. And mind you, I never had these issues before. If anything, I was very like, I really did have like self-control when it comes to that. However, with everything that happened and the situation that I was in and how toxic the workplace was, it did unfortunately lead me to the route where I was now craving for it. I did feel a sense of like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I think that's where the conviction kind of comes in. It's just feeling a bit like doing this is leading to X, Y, and Z, which is also leading me to finding myself further away from the light, and just like only lasted a few hours, and then after that I'd go back feeling miserable as sin, right? I don't want this to be a master of my life. I feel like if I continue dependency of alcohol, then I could honestly see myself becoming an alcoholic. And I was never an alcoholic, and that was not where I want to see myself. There is a verse in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 12, and it says, I will not be mastered by anything. Yeah, I realized this was an issue. I prayed about it, and I think at that point, that's when I really was like, okay, I need to pick myself back up, because at the end of the day, don't know if I'll get given another chance to see another day. You know, we can only hope that we will wake up the following morning and everything will be fine, and you know, we can start our day right. Tomorrow is not always promised. It's not always guaranteed that we will see tomorrow. Obviously, sleeping without repenting as well, which is another thing that's what really woke me up. And I was like, because there was times when I really would just go to bed without praying, and I'm thinking, what if I don't wake up and I'm here consuming alcohol, trying to find peace in it and trying to numb the pain rather than just running to God. And I'm not even praying about it. So it's like, what if I sleep, don't wake up, basically die in sin, right? Because at this point I'm drinking myself to sleep. So I was like, yeah, this is going to be a problem. I think from that point, and that's when I really laid it out to God, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Because at this point, I think also what happened was the fact that I was just too ashamed to come to him. So that's why I was like running from him. But I was like, why am I running? God, please. I was like, go back to the Father that loves you. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna run back to him because I need him at this point. I was trying to fix myself, nothing was working. So I said, you know what, I need to run back to the one that I know and the one that knows me. So I did that. It wasn't an easy process. I had to put my ego, my pride aside, but I knew it had to be done. And that's when I realized that I don't want this to be a part of my life anymore. And I did think about, okay, I'm going to just take a step back from alcohol for now. So I started off with that. I think the last time I actually drank was like back in April, and I was with a friend of mine from my old workplace, and we were just talking and just catching up on stuff, and that was the last time I really drank. I wasn't thinking that this was going to be the last. That wasn't even in my mind. So, but then I was like, at first it started off as, I'm just gonna take a break from it, maybe distance myself from it for the time being, and then hopefully have everything under control. So this was the moment when I decided that I don't want this to rule over me. Now, there is a difference between wanting to quit and surrendering it all. Quitting is more like, say, I'm gonna stop drinking, whereas surrendering is more like, I don't want to return to this anymore. So at first I did want to just quit for the time being, just like take a break from it for now. Then I thought to myself, I don't want to go back there. My worry was the fact that if I go back to drinking alcohol, like yeah, sure, everything will be fine and I'll drink with moderation and everything will be all good. Was to say another issue happens, which then leads me to that place, and then I start depending on alcohol again. I didn't want that to be a part of my life anymore. So then I went from wanting to quit to now wanting to just be like, God, I give it to you. I don't want to go back here. I don't want to go to the thing that almost ruined me. This is not about the drinks themselves. I'm not saying that the drinks that I had was bad, although there are people and alcohol can be bad and it can have negative influence on people. This is about me personally depending on alcohol to relieve whatever it was that I was feeling in that moment. This is what I know. I'm used to drinking alcohol. I socialize with my friends. There's a lot of places in this like in London especially, that there's still alcoholic and a few non-alcoholic drinks, and it's like, yeah, but there was that voice of like, yeah, but you're gonna be missing out, right? And some people even believe that, drinking alcohol brings a fun side to people, right? I feel like I can be my authentic self without drinking alcohol. If anything, I like being sober. I like being in control of my emotions. I feel like sometimes with alcohol, things can be a little bit blurred, and next thing you don't really know what you're doing or saying, and you're being reckless. I like to be sober-minded and being able to think for myself and knowing my surroundings, and making sure that I am safe as well, right? Which is another important thing. Like it says in 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8, be alert and sober-minded. So the whole feeling of like, being more fun and more confident in yourself, you have to drink alcohol to feel these things. I'm like, no, I don't want to, kind of thing. I understand there's also that pressure of you have to drink alcohol to be this fun, bubbly self. And I'm like, sweetie, there are people that are just as fun, if not even more funnier to be around when they're sober. I had this friend, actually, I liked her when she was sober, I'm not gonna lie to you. When she was a bit tipsy, she was a lot, and not even in a good way. And at that time, I'd obviously drink with her, but when I noticed how she gets with alcohol, I was like, I need to stop drinking because I need to watch over her at this point. And I remember there was a time we went to see a colleague because we was like, oh, let's meet up with this person so then we can, all three of us can also all go for a drink. This girl at this point, she was already tipsy. She had a whole bottle of wine to herself, and she just poured me one glass of wine, red wine. But I told her I don't drink red wine. I'll try a sip. But again, it was so disgusting. I was like, I'm not drinking that. She ended up drinking some of it as well, but for the most part, she drank all of the majority of the wine in the bottle. And I was like, that's a lot of wine for an hour that you've just consumed. Anyways, we was heading to the workplace. We was waiting to meet up with the guy because he's just finishing his shift, and then she threw up. I told the guys, can you help me get tissue because she's throwing up right now. I gave her water. They brought her tissue. She started having a go at me, started shouting and yelling at me for helping her out. I was like, this can't be happening. I just told her, just be quiet and drink your water. And she kind of shut up at that point. And then she started to apologize and all that stuff. I was like, go back. Go back. And I do understand why people stay away from alcohol, because if you don't have self-control, it just brings, I feel like alcohol can bring the ugly side to people. That's why I understand why I also do see Christians that just are against alcohol, and I'm actually in support of that. And now I'm in that shoes where I'm like, you know what, if you can, stay away from it. That's just me. That was the battle that I was dealing with. Then I had to make the decision. Not only was it becoming a temptation, but it was also leading me to other temptation, which was then leading me into sin. I don't need it to feel some sort of numbing sensation, or to wanting to escape from reality, or to make me feel okay. Yeah, that was that. And that was the journey that I decided to embark on. I knew this would not happen overnight, but I also know that this is not an impossible journey to embark on. Have I ever felt like, oh, maybe I'll just come back to it at some point? There has been those thoughts in my mind, but then I think about the cons, and I feel like the cons heavier than the pros. Like I said, it's not an easy journey, but again, I've never really been the type to drink like that anyways, so I think I will be okay. I know for some people, especially if you drink every single day, especially if you were someone that was addicted to alcohol, I know taking that journey to freedom sounds almost impossible. I've heard stories of people that have tried to quit and it was just so difficult for them. But I know with Christ all things are possible, and you just have to take it one day at a time. There might be days where you might fall into it. Don't beat yourself up over it. Pick yourself back up and try again. Keep on pushing, keep on going. Just know that you can't do this by yourself. By your own willpower might not be possible. For most part, it usually isn't possible by your own power. But when you invite the power of God, is possible. So that's pretty much my reason as to why I've decided to quit alcohol. I believe that I am stronger than that. I believe that I can be in control of my flesh and not my flesh being in control of me. I'm going to share this verse because I know some of you might be feeling condemned and might be feeling like you're too far gone and there's no saving you now, and you might feel like maybe the best option is running to alcohol. I want to share this verse, and this is Romans chapter 8 verse 1. I love using this verse. I add this into my prayer every single time, and that is, therefore there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. So just know that Jesus does not condemn you. He tells you to go and sin no more, like he told the adulterous woman in the book of John, chapter 8, verse 10. So just know anything that condemns you does not belong to God. Just know that God can forgive you, he can restore you, he can heal you, he can deliver you from this. Maybe it's an addiction, maybe it's something that you are struggling with. He can heal you from it. You just need to, allow him, trust in him that he can do wonders in your life. And this is 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 17. If anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. He can transform you, he can heal you, he can, restore you. He will be transforming you every day. Who you were before is not who you will be in the becoming, who you will be now. And that is Ephesians chapter 5 verse 18, is that do not get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery, but instead be filled with the Spirit. What are we allowing to feed us, right? And sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, I even spoken briefly about like the friend, like she would act a little too much. Sometimes alcohol can get people acting a bit reckless. This is why in my last video I was treading carefully when it comes to alcohol, because I don't want to send the wrong type of message. I'm not promoting alcohol to you guys. I don't want you to take this video as me telling you what to do, what not to do. I'm sharing my own personal experiences, but what I will say is this: speak to God and allow him to guide you. If this is something that you are struggling and you really truly need healing from this, pray about it and surrender it all to God. That's what I would say. Surrender it all to God. I just want this video to be an encouragement that, if you are going through it, if you are dealing with this, now it's the time to really address it. That's that. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video. I hope this video has spoken to your heart. I hope this has touched your soul. And if it has, please do give this video a big thumbs up, comment and subscribe. Keep walking in faith, stay rooted in the word of God. So please read the Bible, don't be slacking, okay? And remember that your life is story still being written by the author of life. Yes, I'll leave you guys to it. You guys take care, stay blessed, and remember one thing, guys: Jesus really and truly loves you. Don't keep him waiting, and I'll see you guys, God willing, in my next video.